Imagine you are just trying to grab a quick lunch at one of London's most famous food markets. You are standing in line for some crumble and custard, and then suddenly, the future king and queen of England walk up, put on aprons and start serving you dessert. That is not a dream sequence. That is not a movie plot. That actually happened this week, and the people of London are still processing it. According to reports, Prince William and Princess Catherine made a completely surprise, unannounced visit to Borough Market in London, and from the moment they walked through those market gates, the entire place went absolutely electric. And here is the thing that nobody is talking about. This was only the first stop of the day. There were reportedly more locations, a mystery visit nobody knew about, and a dramatic finish involving a boat on the River Thames. So stay with me, because this story gets better with every single stop. Let us start at the very beginning because the setting alone is worth appreciating. Borough Market is not just any food market. It is one of London's oldest and most iconic markets, with roots going back over 1,000 years. Stalls packed with artisan cheese, freshly brewed coffee, handmade pastries, and food from every corner of the world. On any given Thursday morning, it is full of tourists, locals grabbing early lunch, food lovers hunting for something special. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, was expecting what walked through those doors. According to sources on the ground, there were no big security barriers, no formal announcements, no red carpets rolled out. William and Catherine simply appeared, just there, walking through the market like two people who just really fancied some cheese, and I have to say, honestly, good for them. There is something genuinely refreshing about seeing royals just exist in a normal human space, without turning the whole thing into a military operation. Now their first stop was a stall called Trethowan Brothers, an award-winning family cheesemakers who, according to reports, have been a fixture at Borough Market since 1998. They specialize in small-batch traditional cheeses, and apparently both William and Catherine are, in the words of stall owner Todd Trethowan himself, big cheese fans. And look, I respect that enormously. There is no more honest character test than a person's enthusiasm for good cheese. According to Mr. Trethowan, William spotted a tall tower of cheddar and immediately started asking questions, genuinely curious, not just doing the polished royal nod and smile routine. Both the prince and princess then tried their hand at slicing pitchfork cheddar using a cutting wire, and by all accounts they were, in Mr. Trethowan's words, naturals. Catherine reportedly asked which cheese was the most popular, and when Mr. Trethowan gave them some cheese and chutney to take away, William apparently looked at Catherine and said, "That's lunch taken care of." Now that is a man who has his priorities straight. They also reportedly expressed genuine interest in hearing about the growth of the British cheese industry, particularly the fact that many young people are now getting into cheesemaking. Which is actually a fascinating detail when you think about it. This visit was not just a photo opportunity. It was a real conversation about real industries, real livelihoods, real communities. And that distinction matters. But here is where things start getting genuinely interesting, because their second stop carried a much deeper meaning than most people initially realized. According to reports, William and Catherine then made their way to a stall called Change Please, a social enterprise that supports people experiencing homelessness by training them as baristas and providing wraparound support services. 100% of their profits reportedly go directly toward helping people experiencing homelessness across the United Kingdom and Ireland. Now, here is the connection that should make you stop for a second. According to sources, last year the Prince's Own Homewards program, William's flagship initiative focused on ending homelessness, actually funded Change Please to run an employability scheme in Northern Ireland. So this was not a random stall visit. This was William checking in on work that is directly tied to his personal mission. He reportedly told staff he would bring their coffee into Royal Palace's cafes, naming Windsor Castle specifically, which, imagine being the barista who lands that contract. Instant legend status. Meanwhile, Catherine was not standing politely to the side. According to reports, she was deeply curious about the coffee grinding process, asking, "Can you show me how to do it?" before diving behind the counter to learn the machines herself. After working the equipment, frothing and pouring, she apparently held up a finished coffee cup and declared to William, "I made you a coffee." To which William, apparently fully aware of his own caffeine preferences, pointed out it was not decaf, suggested the stallholders sell it instead, and Catherine reportedly just shrugged, kept the cup, and walked around the rest of the market drinking it herself. Honestly, that is the most relatable thing I have ever heard from any member of any royal family anywhere on Earth. Now here comes the moment that the internet is absolutely losing its mind over. Their final stop at Borough Market was at a place called Humble Crumble, a London dessert business that, according to reports, started as a single market stall and grew into multiple locations with a massive social media following. The princess reportedly greeted founder Kim Innes with genuine enthusiasm, telling her she had actually watched her on MasterChef the previous night. And then, and this is the part that made hundreds of bystanders stop dead in their tracks and reach for their phones, both William and Catherine put on aprons and stepped behind the till to serve dessert to actual paying customers. According to reports, William took charge of ladling the fruit and crumble portions, while Catherine handled the artistic finishing touches, pouring custard, piping pink marshmallow fluff, and sprinkling toppings. The company's CEO, Gabriel Unjur, who reportedly placed the very first order from the royal visitors, called it a taste test success, and joked that they would both easily pass a trial shift and be offered a job if they ever wanted one. He described the whole experience as completely surreal and said Catherine in particular had done a brilliant job. Now look, I think there is something genuinely beautiful about this moment that goes beyond the fun optics. These are two of the most photographed, most scrutinized, most publicly discussed people on the entire planet, and they chose to spend a Thursday morning in an apron ladling crumble for strangers. According to witnesses, hundreds of people surrounded them, most holding phones up, but the crowd reportedly watched respectfully, not rushing or pushing, just sharing in the moment. And that kind of public warmth is not manufactured. You cannot fake that energy in a crowd. According to reports, after their time at Borough Market, William and Catherine were set to make a second stop at an undisclosed location, details of which have not yet been officially confirmed, before eventually traveling upstream by boat on the River Thames to visit the RNLI lifeboat station. The entire program for the day was reportedly built around the river itself, designed to highlight how the Thames continues to sit at the absolute heart of London's communities, trade, and history. And when you step back and look at the full picture of this day, the cheesemakers, the homelessness charity, the dessert entrepreneur who built something from nothing, it paints a very intentional portrait. This was not a day of grand ceremonies or formal speeches. This was reportedly a deliberate effort to show up in the spaces where real Londoners actually live and work. Whether you follow the royals closely or not, I think most people can appreciate the symbolism of that. Showing up without barriers, without a script, without security turning the whole thing into a fortress, and just being present. That takes a certain kind of confidence, and honestly, a certain kind of genuine interest in the people you are meeting. The reaction from Londoners and tourists who were there in person, according to multiple reports, was one of complete and total shock followed immediately by pure joy. People described being unable to believe their eyes. And I think that is the thing about moments like this. In a world where everything feels curated, filtered, and pre-announced, a genuine surprise still has incredible power. William and Catherine apparently walked through that market without barriers, stopped for selfies, shook hands with people, and shared a genuinely warm, human afternoon with strangers. And sometimes, that is exactly what people need to see.